In the previous video, we introduced the trigonometric ratios, sine, cos, and tan, which we used to find a missing length in a right angle triangle. So just a recap. So if this is the angle in the question, we call the longest side, or we always call the longest side in a right angle triangle, the hypotenuse, h. The one opposite the angle we're using, we call the opposite, so O, and the one in between our angle and the right angle is called the adjacent, or A. And we had three trigonometric ratios. So we had SOH, which stands for the sine of an angle, sin theta, that just means the unknown angle, is equal to O over H. Cos of an angle, the cosine of an angle, is equal to A over H. And TOA means tan with the angle is equal to O over A. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to be given two sides. So we're going to be given the ratio, given two sides, and we're going to use that to work out a missing angle. So let's look at an example. So this question says find the size of angle ABC. So ABC is this angle here. The first step is to label the triangle. So the hypotenuse is the longest side, opposite the right angle. The opposite is opposite the angle we're using. And the adjacent is in between the right angle and the angle. So we use one of our ratios, so it's either sin, cos, or tan. Which one are we using? So we want the one with A and H in. We know A and H, we don't know what O is, and we're not trying to work it out. So the one with A and H in, or the one without O in, is Ka. And that means that cos with the angle is equal to A over H. So let's substitute in what we've got. So this is cos x equals A, which is 8, over H, which is 10. So we know cos x equals 8/10, 8 over 10. And we use our calculator to find x. And to do that, to get cos away from x, we use shift cos. So above the cos button, you'll see a little cos -1 on your calculator. So we're going to say that x is equal to shift cos 8/10. So if we type this into the calculator, shift cos 8/10 we get an answer of 36.869 and so on. We'll give our answers to one decimal place, so that's 36.9. So we're going to say x is 36.9 degrees to one decimal place. Okay, one for you to try, so give this a go. Find the sides of angle BAC. So B to A to C is this angle here. That's our x, that's the angle we're using in the question. And now we can label the triangle. The longest side is the hypotenuse. Opposite the angle we're using is called the opposite. And in between the angle and the right angle is called the adjacent. So which ratio are we using? Is it a sin, cos, or tan? We are using A and H. A and H are in the question. O isn't. We don't know what it is and we're not trying to work it out. So we're using ca again. So cos with the angle equals A over H. So let's substitute in. So we've got cos x equals 5 over 9. To get x by itself, we do the opposite of cos, which is a shift cos. So x is shift cos, cos minus 1, 5/9. So let's type that into the calculator. And to one decimal place, 56.3. So 56.3 degrees to one decimal place. Okay, another example. Find the sides of angle ACB. So A to C to B is this angle. We'll label the triangle. So the longest side is the hypotenuse. Opposite the angle we're using is the opposite. And in between the angle and the right angle is the adjacent. So is this sine, cos, or tan? Which one are we using? So we want O and A. We don't want H. So we're using tan, TOA. So we can write down that tan with the angle, tan theta, is O over A. Substituting in what we've got gives us tan x equals 6 over 5. To get x by itself, we shift tan. So x is shift tan, arc tan, 6/5. So let's type that into the calculator. Shift tan 6/5, and to one decimal place, 50.2. So it's 50.2 degrees to one decimal place. And one for you to try. So give this a go. Find the sides of angle BAC. B to A to C. That's this angle. So we'll label it. The hypotenuse is the longest side. Opposite is opposite the angle we're using. And adjacent is between the angle and the right angle. So is it SOHCAHTOA or TOA? Sine, cos, or tan? Which ratio are we using? We want O and A. We don't want H. So it's TOA. So we've got tan with the angle. Tan theta is O over A. Substituting in what we've got in this question, that would be tan x equals 10 over 4. So to get x by itself, shift tan. So x will be shift tan 10 over 4, which we can type into the calculator. And that gives us 68.2. degrees to one decimal place. And one more example. So find the sides of angle ABC. ABC is this angle. So we'll label the triangle. H is the longest side. O is opposite the angle we're using. And A is in between the angle and the right angle. So which ratio do we want? We want O and H. We don't want one with A in. So that's sine. So sin, sine with the angle. Sine theta is O over H. And substituting in, that gives us sine x is 5.5 over 8.2. To get x by itself, we shift sign, so x is shift sign 5.5 over 8.2, which we type into the calculator, and that is 42.1 to 1 decimal place. And one for you to try, so give this a go. Find the size of angle BAC. So BAC, that's this angle at the top. And we'll label it. The hypotenuse, H, is the longest side, opposite the right angle. Opposite the angle we're using is called O, the opposite. And in between the right angle and the angle is A, the adjacent. So we're using O and H this time. Or we're not using A. So it's sine again. So sine with the angle, sine theta, is O over H. So in this question, that means sine x is 7.6 over 9.1. And to get x by itself, we shift sign. So x will be equal to shift sign 7.6 over 9.1. So let's type that in. And we get our answer of 56.6 degrees to 1 decimal place. To finish up, we've got 2 questions here. Pause the video, give them a go, and press play when you're ready for the answers. Okay, question 1, find the size of angle BAC. So B to A to C, that's this angle. Let's start by labeling the triangle. So the hypotenuse is the longest side, opposite the right angle. The opposite is opposite the angle we're using, and the adjacent is in between the angle and the right angle. So which ratio will we be using? So we want O and H, we don't want A, so it's SOH, we're using sine. So that will be sine theta. SOH means sine theta is O over H. And let's substitute in what we've got. So that will be sine x is 9.5 over 15. To get x by itself, we shift sign. So we've got shift sign 9.5 over 15, which we can type into the calculator. And that is 39.3. So x is 39.3 degrees to 1 decimal place. And question 2, the angle BAC. BAC is this angle. The hypotenuse is the longest side. O is opposite the angle we're using, and A is in between the angle and the right angle. So is it a sine, cos, or tan? We want O and A, or we don't want H, so it's tan. So TOA means tan with the angle equals O over A. So tan x is 12 over 8. To get x by itself, we shift tan, arctan, so shift tan 12/8, and we type that into the calculator, so shift tan 12/8, and our answer is 56.3 degrees to 1 decimal place.